Okay, good morning. Today we are going to discuss about the sedimentary rock formation in detail. In last lecture, we have seen that what the sedimentary rock is. Sedimentary rock is a secondary rock which is formed because of weathering, erosion, transportation, and deposition. Most of the Earth's surface consists of sedimentary rock because the material present on the Earth's surface experiences uh, different agencies like weathering, erosions, transportations, deposition, etc. And because of that, the Earth's surface is mostly covered by the sedimentary rocks. Now let us see how these sedimentary rocks are formed. Let us see the introduction first. The rocks which are formed by weathering of pre-existing rocks or by chemical biological process are called as sedimentary rocks. See, now, those rocks which are formed either by weathering of pre-existing rocks or by chemical or biological processes are called as sedimentary rocks. Its study is called as sedimentary petrology, as we have seen in the last lecture. Let us see some facts. Sedimentary rocks are also called as secondary rocks, as I already told you in my last class. The constituent fragments of sedimentary rock is called as sediments. The study of sediments is called as sedimentology, and there are basic two types of sedimentary rocks, clastic and non-clastic. Clastic and non-clastic are classified on the basis of the sediments, the nature of sediments present in it. The rock which consists of sediments developed or formed by weathering, erosion, and transportation are called as clast, and hence the consequent rock as clastic rock. Whereas the rocks which are the sedimentary rocks which are formed not because of weathering and erosion, but because of chemical and organic processes, in that case, those rocks are called as non-clastic rock because the clast is not present or the absence of clast defines the chemical and organic origin of that sedimentary rock. You can see the example that in clastic rock, you can see rhodaceous, arenaceous, and argillaceous. Rhodaceous rocks are those rocks which are whose clasts are bigger in size, like conglomerate, breccia. Arenaceous rocks are those rocks where the clast size is of sand. It could be coarse, medium, and fine. Whereas argillaceous rocks are those rocks where the size of the clasts are very fine, that is of shell size or clay size. In non-clastic rock, you can see that there is a chemical and organic rocks in which the chemically formed limestone is a well-known example, whereas in organic, a diatom ooze is another example. We will see in detail that how these rocks are classified and formed. The weathering product, if remain untransported, called as residual sedimentary rock. See, this is another type is very important that if the weathering is persistent and the pre-existing rock is converted into sediments, but if they remain non-transported, in that case, those are called as residual sedimentary rocks. Okay, so you must understand that there are multiple classifications of sedimentary rock where it can be classified on the sediment grain, size, and the mode of origin. Now, the process of formation of clastic sedimentary rocks, it is a very important aspect. Okay, that how the clastic rocks are formed. There are four steps in the formation of clastic sedimentary rocks: weathering, transportation, deposition, and diagenesis. Let us see the weathering. A pre-existing of any type of rock when exposed to weathering agents like heat, rain, wind, etc., mechanical disintegration and chemical decomposition occurs. This process produces sediments which are known as clast. Hence the name clastic rock. Means weathering is a process in which a pre-existing material, that could be a rock, is mechanically disintegrated and chemically decomposed with the help of different agencies. And the resultant decomposed or disintegrated product is called as sediments or the clast. And hence the name comes clastic rock. Chemical decomposition and mechanical disintegration are there. In chemical decomposition, you can see oxidation is there, reduction, solution, and hydration is there. Oxidation is nothing but the oxidization of the material or the rock constituent. Reduction means the opposite of the oxidation. Solution means when the mineral constituent of the rock becomes soluble in the solvent. Hydration means it is the addition of the water molecule in the rock. It again chemically decomposes the rock. In mechanical disintegration, you can see the forced action in cold desert. What forced action is? It is the force exerted by the ice on the wall of the rocks, because you know that the anomalous behavior of the water when it get crystallized or acidified, sorry, when it get icified, its volume increases anomalously, and because of the increased volume it exerts pressure on the wall and the rocks get disintegrated, because the volume required for the ice is much bigger than the volume required for the equal volume of water. The second is diurnal temperature variation in desert because of continuous heating in the day and cooling during the night. It actually creates a diurnal temperature variation because of which the rocks are expanded and compressed continuously, and as a result, they are disintegrated mechanically. So, with the help of these processes, the rock either chemically decompose or mechanically disintegrate, or both processes can be predominant. After the formation of these sediments are then transported. The agents like wind, river, and glacier transport the weather material to the depositional basin. See, it is very important to understand that when the weathering is done, the sediments are subjected to the transportation. Not necessary, but many a times, multiple times, they are subjected to transportation with the help of different agencies like wind. Wind transports sand, river transports alluvial material, glacier transports large amount of large sizes blocks, and they deposits them at certain place where the velocity is checked. That is called as depositional basin. Okay, the extent of transportation decides the grain size and the type of the rock. It is very important to understand that the extent the sediment is transported, it will determine its grain size, sorting, and different aspects of sedimentary texture. So the transportation plays a very crucial role in the sedimentary rock formation. The third one is deposition. When the velocity of the transporting agencies are checked by various causes, the sediments get deposited and settled in the basin. The velocity check is done either by natural or artificial obstacles. See, whenever the velocity of the transporting agents are checked or the transporting agencies slows down, their carrying capacity becomes less, and they try or they precipitates or drops down the load they are carrying, and ultimately the deposition occurs. Usually deposition occurs in the depositionary basins. The fourth procedure for the sedimentary rock formation is the diagenesis. Diagenesis, the name itself explains that it is the re-origin. Now let us see. The actual process responsible for the transformation of sediment into sedimentary rock is called as diagenesis. Following are the steps. Compaction. Compacted compaction because of overlying load. This removes the void spaces among the sediments. Cementation. Cementing materials of any nature binds the clast. The siliceous, calcareous, and ferruginous cementing material are very common. Lithification. Touch up to convert sediments to compact rock. Sometimes compaction and cementation together is referred as lithification. So in diagenesis, what happens? The loose sediments is converted into a compact sedimentary rock. For that, the compaction, cementation, and lithifications are responsible. So all these processes commonly called as the diagenesis of the sedimentary rock. So now this we'll see the for process of formation of non-clastic rock. It is very crude description. We will see them in detail in our subsequent or the next some of the next lectures. There are four steps in the formation of the non-clastic sedimentary rocks. Uh, chemical. It is the process where the precipitation of constituent minerals from hydrothermal solution occurs in case of physiochemical change. Best example is limestone deposit. Here, the rocks are formed on the basis of the chemical environmental change, and because of which the material dissolved in the hydrothermal solution or mineral dissolved in the hydrothermal solution precipitates and forms the deposits. The best example is limestone deposit. The organic process of formation where the deposits are formed entirely because of organic activities like that of formation of coal, formation of diatom ooze. In this, the different kinds of rocks are formed on the basis of the organic activities like the diatom ooze. Diatom is a marine animal whose shell is calcareous. When these diatoms are dead, they get deposited on the sea floor, and then the respective organic ooze is formed. Residual in this process, the product of weathering won't transport and due to in situ accumulation causes formation of rock like laterite and bauxite. So this was all about the process of formation. I am thankful for your kind attention. Thank you very much. If you have any question, you can ask me on different online platforms, and I'm also sharing the Google link, Google form link on this class or on WhatsApp also, so that you can put your queries accordingly.